So we've got a nice black screen here. Let me at least look at my weapon quick. I'm fine with these attachments, I guess. Can I get a grip? I cannot. Oh, what? It kicked me back to the title menu. I hate that. I just want to see.
Get a grip, man.
I just want to see what my camo challenge is. Okay, get 50 kills to unlock this camo, and I've 19 already. So this is going to be easy peasy for the first one. Are you ready to start a match?
I am ready.
All right, let's do it. So, I recently read back through one of my favorite series of books. Are you familiar with John Dies at the End?
I am. Not the most recent one, but the other three.
God, I love those books. And you've read the first three, right?
Yeah, I read the first three. Actually, I have them right here.
Oh, cool. In the second one, this book is filled with spiders.
Mm-hmm.
He has like a little essay at the end where the author talks to, his readers.
Right.
And it talks about like the development of the book and how nervous he was because he had never written a book before. The first book was just a series of posts that he had made that he glued together into a cohesive story. And then he got this publishing deal and they were like, you're going to have to write a book on demand. And he's like, I don't know if I can do that. But he had this concept that he introduced, and I'm not an anthropologist, so there are going to be gaps in my knowledge. I'll try to explain it to the best of my understanding. But he calls it Dunbar's number, and I found this fascinating. I actually, went on Wikipedia and looked it up a little bit and tried to find some other material so I could at least get a little educated. But Robert Dunbar was an anthropologist, and he found that there was a correlation in primates between brain size and the number of social relationships that they can maintain. So social relationships being like someone that you care about and would have empathy for. And that's interesting. So he extrapolated on that, and humans being like a kind of primate.
Right.
He measured this, I guess it's the neocortex that's responsible for this.
That sounds right.
He measured that in humans and found that, if all of the same rules apply, the Dunbar number for humans is about 150. Any more than that, and it kind of starts to break down. You can't really feel empathy for anyone outside of that group of 150.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating. And the author of the John Dies at the End books goes on to talk about as a further defense mechanism, humans have to save space for that. You can't just have love or empathy or concern for all 8 billion people on the planet or however many there are. Right. You have to economize. Mm-hmm. So what we do is instead of treating those 150 social relationships as individual people, we treat them as slots or memory slots.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to generalize. And so an example of this would be I love my child. She definitely takes up one full slot. Anything happened to her, I would be devastated. I also agree that all children should be safe and happy, right? There should be no danger to children ever. But if it's not my kid, I care less.
Right.
So
I mean, all children and your child is a very broad range.
Correct. So what you end up doing is you end up kind of depersonalizing them a little bit, and you just kind of shove them into their own category so that they take up a slot, which is my child versus all other children as one group, and that takes up slot 2. And then you've got close familial relations. Well, a lot of people are close with their parents, so your mom and dad would occupy each a slot. Maybe coworkers that you work closely with would, all occupy their own separate slots. But
right.
Certainly not everyone at your job. We have 350 people at our job. So that would be one slot of just people who work in the same building as me. And, you tend to rank them, right, as more or less important than other people in your groups.
Even if obviously you have their employees that have been there 10 years, and then you have your employees that have been there a week. And you approach them differently.
Well, and also like how important they are to you specifically. So there are employees that have been there for 10 years. I do not care about them. They're not someone that like I'm going to go out of my way for social situations with. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to form close personal relationships with them. They're just kind of in that category.
Right.
And then the author, you know, he was talking about how it extrapolates further, and he's like, no wonder things like, you know, bigotry and racism exist. I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying no wonder they exist. Because how could you possibly hold every individual person in the world as one, you know, one slot? You've got to group them up somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, on the lower end of the spectrum would be just like groups of people you know nothing about, right? And you just kind of go, well, you know, those are people from, you know, Eastern Europe. That's I don't know any of them. There's millions of people there. That's just one slot. They must all be the same. Well, they're not. They all have unique individual personalities and lives and, you know, interests and loves, and yeah, they're all, you know, people. But if there's an earthquake in Taiwan somewhere and 6 million people die from it, like, you're still gonna go to work tomorrow. You're not gonna cry. You don't know that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's exposure based. Like, if you're not around this, then you don't know this, and it's just like being uncomfortable, like trying a new food. Like, you know, at first you're like, I'm gonna stick with what I like. Like, if somebody has asked you, like, hey, do you want to eat pizza for the rest of your life, or do you want to eat, I don't know, some random thing you've never ever had before?
You're gonna take the safe route.
You're gonna pick what you know, and what you know you're gonna react to.
Yeah, I found that concept endlessly fascinating because, you know, the more you think about it, you can kind of see examples in your own behavior in your own life. And so much of what we do socially is kind of governed by that. And, you know, it made me look at people, like, in the gas station that I go to every morning differently. Like, rather than just obstacles in my way in line, I'm like, you know, you got to consciously realize, you know, these are people with families and aspirations and dreams and hopes. They're not just like the dude who's taken too long to pay so that I can't get to the counter, you know?
Well, it kind of brings in the mindset, or like the kind that they try to purport, where like there's like ad campaigns like that's somebody's daughter. Like, they try to get you to relate to something you might not normally relate to.
Well, and the crazy part is, like, if the Dunbar's number thing, you know, if that does have credence, if the correlation is really strong, and it remains to be tested, but, like, if that's a solid scientific fact, then we're physically incapable of doing that. Like, you can only hold so many of those slots. That's wild. It's like you're hardwired to perform in a certain group. And a certain group size, and that's it.
Whew, sorry, that was intense for a second. Yeah, like, I don't know, it's like setting... I guess it's like a capacity setting. Okay, like, take bandwidth, for example. Something we were just talking about with my router, you know, like... It's just, you know, it breaks it down, and it kind of it gets you to that thing where, like, the universe is built off the same building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different scales of things. So, like, the computer processing power, you know, like, and different people will be different, too. Like you said, maybe it's based off the intelligence level. So, like, one person might only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and somebody else might have 64. Like,
well, and that's a good point, because everybody does have different capacities. And, you know, you do have, like, exceptional people who are probably, you know, in high-end business positions and networking and stuff like that. You know, they could probably fit 200 or 300 extra people in their contacts list. Are they close interpersonal relationships? No. But, you know, I guarantee you, all of the people in their network, they could list off facts about their life and their family, and, you know, they have a working knowledge of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I almost wonder if it's something that can't be, like, you know, you display a certain amount of mindfulness and you kind of practice at it. Maybe you can grow that a little bit. Now, ask me if I want to fill up any more of the taken slots that I have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I have like one really good friend and then a bunch of like maybe one secondary good friend and then acquaintances and my wife.
Yeah. Yep.
And a lot of my slots are filled up by dogs.
I was just gonna say, like, that's an interesting concept too, because it's not just humans. I mean, you have interpersonal relationships with your dogs. You have routines, you have habits, they have personalities that you have to keep track of. You know what they like, what they dislike.
And like we were talking about, you know, in the other match, like dogs are a best friend. So like right there, I'm already assigning human characteristics to a dog.
And so you have what, 4 dogs?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 4 slots. But then think of it this way. There's a secret 5th slot in which all of the other dogs you don't know fit. Because I know you like dogs in general. If you see a dog on the side of the street, you're going to pet it.
It's like, again, I can break it just to break it down. Maybe people understand it differently. Is like it's like a favorite food. Like I like apple pie, but I love my grandma's apple pie. So like I know I like this broad range, but this very specific one is like my favorite version of that.
Exactly. And if you think about how interconnected we all are with the internet and Twitter and all that stuff, you know, and like Facebook and all the social media where we're all connecting, it's no wonder we're all freaking burnt out. It's almost like these devices are designed to like burn out that circuit in your brain.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. So like, kind of like you talked about before with like gas station interactions and things. Like we were just at Dollar General tonight, and one of the things I forget how it got up. Oh, I looked around. I was like, man, there is Christmas stuff out already. And like we know people do it like the day after Halloween. It's like, oh yeah, gotta get on to the next one. And a lot of that's like a money grabbing thing and stuff. But we were just talking with the cashier a little bit while she was ringing us out about, man, time flies. And she's like, I don't remember it flying like this. And I was like, and honestly, like sometimes I forget not everybody thinks the same way. I'm guilty of that.
Right.
And I was like, well, yeah, let's look at how fast paced our environments around us are now, though, like compared to then. Like back then, you didn't have phones, you weren't constantly connected. Look at what we're doing right now. Like, this is a fast action-paced thing, and next thing you know, it's been like an hour. Like, all the things that we interact with on a daily basis, videos, even cars get faster, you know, like, everything, it gets faster as time progresses on. And she's like, I know, I never thought about it like that. Like, I guess, like, the world around us does get fast-paced. And I'm like, yeah, and that's why, because she was like, even my grandkids are like, oh, man, it went so fast. Like, at that age, they're not supposed to, like, they don't have the same routines we as adults do. You know, it's not like, oh, my mundane daily go to work, go home, cook dinner, go to sleep thing made the whole week seem like one day. I'm like, they do different things and are fascinated by different things. And even there at that age, they're acknowledging like, oh, hey, like time goes quick. Like it all blends together. Like that's not good.
I agree with you totally. And I'll tell you my secret personal thought. I think it's a type of drug epidemic. Now, hear me out on this, right?
Oh, yeah?
So stuff like, you know, the bad stuff, the hard stuff that people get chemically addicted to, you know, that's bad. They try it and then they can't stop. I think one of the hardest drugs there is dopamine. I think that, like, you used to have to work for it in order to feel happy and feel like a sense of, you know, purpose and accomplishment. You used to actually have to work for it. Now there's so many sources of just, like, dopamine acquisition. You know, pushing a button on your phone, all the light up stuff, watching TV even, just things that require no effort. It's all there all the time. And I think as a race, we're kind of burning out.
Well, and with that sentence that you just said, it reminds me of that Bo Burnham song, Welcome to the Internet.
That's why I love that song.
Everything at once, all of the time.
Can I interest you in everything all of the time?
Yeah.
And that's one of the scariest sentences I've ever heard in music. It's wild. It's dangerous because we shouldn't have access to everything all the time.
No, I agree. We should not. And like you said, you kind of had to work for it. And yet you still have people that were already dopamine starved are even more dopamine starved now.
Yeah.
And that's where you get into the like what's their outlet, like they end up having some form of addiction, like, and that doesn't necessarily mean it could be drugs. It could be, oh, they have to go hiking every single day. You know, it could be anything, and anything can be addictive. And that's one thing, like, oh no, it's not addictive, like it doesn't make you need it, or you know, whatever. But like, I don't know, your body becomes dependent on things that are part of your regular routine.
Well, how many times have we seen people, and I know you know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to name any names, but how many times have we seen people that have fallen into like the dopamine addiction hole where they'll play stuff like Call of Duty, and they do it every single night, and then it gets to the point where it's not enough, you got to be the best at it, and then that's not enough, you got to scream at the TV when you lose, and that's not enough, you got to go into general chat and start screaming slurs at people. Like, that's just as much of an addiction as, you know, some of the bad stuff.
Oh, and like right now we're playing, but like I'm emotionally invested to the point of our conversation, and like I'm not like, oh man, I'm ranked 279th, and if I get one more death, like I'm not invested in it to where it's going to define me. And I think that's the real key, is what defines you. What's the definition of you? If people look at you, they're going to be like, oh, that's right, he likes Call of Duty. Or are they going to look at me and be like, oh, he has a bunch of dogs, like that's his thing. Like what? And that breaks it down to like, you always see those, and they're pretty cheesy, like maybe high school, or like, give us 10 words that you could use to describe yourself.
Ooh, those are rough, because how could you capture a whole human in 10 words?
Yeah, but they do it, and it's like, or like, when you die, how would somebody describe you? Now, like, I know I try, like, I set goals for myself for something along those lines, and I do my best, and I hope that I'm remembered a certain way, but like, I have no guarantees. But that's where you have to create yourself to a point where, like, okay, like, I want to believe, so like, I care about people. Even people I don't like, I care about them. That's one of the things that I do. You know, I have my moments where I get frustrated and stuff, but when it comes down to it, if somebody says, hey, I really need your help, I'm going to help them. It's just one of the people, that way I am. And I hope that I'm remembered that way, but I've got no guarantee. I know there's people that...
You can't control other people's perceptions of you. I mean, that's a basic truth, right? So you do the best with what you've got, the same as anyone else.
Right. But going into the day, like, I think about that. Like, if I catch myself, like, oh, man. But I'm like, you know what? No, it's something that I want to put out into the world, I guess, not to get too cliche. But, like, I don't know. That's what I try to do on a regular basis. And I'm not saying I am absolutely not perfect at it. It's just a goal that I set for myself.
I get you.
Like, if I catch myself like, man, this person sucks, like, I don't want to have anything to do with them, they don't deserve my help, and then when I hit that point, I'm like,
time for a reset.
Who's to say they don't? But you can do that with anything, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's where some people let it consume them, and then that's where it's a problem.
I think it's even more basic than that, because you're speaking at, it's two separate issues, right? So you do have the social issue.
Yeah.
But like on a baser, like just chemical issue, I think it's a slippery slope that people don't see coming, because you've got these stigmas attached to certain things, right? So smoking is bad. So people think about cigarettes, and if you're addicted to them, they don't want to talk about what led up to it, or how you became dependent on it, or what you're using it as a crutch for. It's just, it's bad, it's evil, you're gonna die, you shouldn't do it. Which, you know, I agree, you shouldn't. But what they don't talk about is, you know, what about people who obsessively watch sports, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Baseball's the American pastime. Football is a huge part of our culture.
Yeah.
You've got some people that won't interact with their families, like, at all, like, dead to them when their sports team loses.
Oh, yeah,
and sports are
even like...
Sports are generally considered a good thing, right? But even that, it's a slippery slope. Once you start chasing that dopamine horse, you get addicted.
Well, and it's even like, you know, like, oh, sorry, can't do that tonight. Like, oh, game's on. But like, if they're really addicted to it, there's always a game on.
Oh yeah. Well, and so that's marketing for you, baby. You make it accessible. so that people
Yeah.
can't say no. If it's always in your face and you like it, you're not going to say no, and you're going to want more.
Yeah, and that's where like people like, oh nope, can't soccer's on. Oh nope, can't NASCAR's on. Oh nope,
Yeah,
basketball's
I'll get
on.
started
Like,
on that right after the game, babe, I promise.
yeah. Yep. And then you have nowadays, again, back to technology, you got like highlights, you got reels, like you can always watch it.
Oh, you can drag a single football game out for 48 hours, man. Like, with
Well,
the
and
amount of supplemental material.
Well, and it's even like, okay, we'll break this into sports and then we'll break it into like normal TV shows or whatever. So right after the game, then they got the highlights, and then they have the statistics of the highlights or whatever. We've even done that with like shows like The Walking Dead. Immediately after a new episode of The Walking Dead aired, they had the Talking Dead talk show.
Oh yeah, blooper reels, interviews with the actors.
Yep.
And think about that method has been so successful historically. They're doing it to video games. Now you've got, you've got MLG Pro, people doing contests and competitive video gaming. And then you've got, once you're done playing Call of Duty for the night, go on YouTube and check out your favorite streamer.
Right.
It's all there all the time. And when you have an unlimited supply, the value goes down, right?
Yeah.
So you need more.
And like there's the average like people sleep less now and everything else because they're awake, the screens, the headaches, everything. It's crazy.
I think that when I was a kid, I was probably on track to have a problem with that. And in her infinite wisdom, my mom was like, we need to get you other hobbies.
Yeah.
And I think she did a good job there, because if I were left to my own devices as a child, I would have screwed my entire life up.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I had like my addiction when I was younger, well, let's say addiction, but was books. Like when I got like grounded or whatever, it was books, not like video games and stuff.
I actually had a problem. I had a problem with books. I was seeking them out, and if I didn't have one that I was in the middle of, I was thinking about the next one. Like, what's the next one?
Yep. Yeah, I bookstore runs. I mean, I still do. Like, I sit here and I have like 2 full bookshelves on either side of me. Like,
oh, it's dangerous. You've been to a bookstore with me. I can't go. I'll spend all of my money on books I won't even read. They're just cool.
Yeah, I have a bunch. Now, granted, I've gotten a lot better at bookstores, like actual bookstores. But like, I'll go to like Ollie's, which is good stuff, cheap. It's like discount, maybe secondhand stuff, or like a store had to clean out inventory they had too much of, stuff like that. And the books will be like, I'll get like a Stephen King book for like $3.
Oh, that's dangerous.
And like, if people that don't read, like even a small paperback is like $12 usually, or somewhere around there. And it's like, I'll go and I'll just start walking through and be like, well, this one looks cool. Like, I don't know anything. It's not one that you can like go and like, oh, I'm looking for this book, because you don't know what they're gonna have in stock.
Oh, and the surprise gets you too, because every once in a while you'll pick up a book because the cover catches you.
Yep.
And you'll read a sentence on the inside and you'll be like, well, now I gotta read it.
Yeah, I'll come out of there on a regular basis every visit with like 6 or so books at least. And sometimes they're cookbooks, sometimes they're I don't know what I just did. Oh, I threw C4 by accident. I forgot I did that. I'll come out of there with like 6 books, like I'm stacked full. Sometimes there'll be cookbooks. It varies. Like, I'll come out of there with like some religious text, or I'll come out of there with like some nonfiction type novel, history, mythology.
Oh, see, you got it bad, man. You got a monkey on your back. I draw the line in fiction because I'm so immersed in the real world. I don't want to read about the real world. I want to get taken away.
A lot of it, I don't read current events. I'll read like older stuff, or like the mythology. I don't really count as the real world. But it's interesting to learn about or read the folklore behind.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff we do on a regular basis is inspired by, or, whatever, by the folklore.
No, I get you. And it's, I have that fascination with, like, old sayings, like, you know, don't keep all your eggs in one basket, or, you know, stuff like that. I like knowing where stuff like that comes from, because then you start to pick up regional differences in the way people speak. And moving, like, from, you know, I spent my childhood up in Maine, and then moving down here to Pennsylvania, you guys have different weird sayings that you use. Well, they're weird to me.
And that's where, actually, I bought the book at Ollie's that we haven't read, and I have it right here. It says, Why Do We Say It?
Oh, you told me about that.
Yep, and we never looked through it, but that's all it is. It's like, this saying comes from this whatever.
Right. And if you have that knowledge, of, like, you know, the history behind certain phrases and what regions use them, you can sort of tune into people's personalities when you're with them and get an idea for, like, what will they understand if you say it? And what will make them feel at home talking to you? What will make them comfortable around you? How can you best articulate a sentence and they'll know exactly what you mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because of what you just said. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's just interesting stuff to find out, like, oh, this came from that, really? And, like, it's not in depth, but it gives you, like, that little bit of an Easter egg to be like, oh, hey, let me follow this trail of breadcrumbs, and then you find out, like, the roots of words and how they became to be and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
And sometimes it's like, I even still think there's value, like, if you find out the origin of a phrase and you're kind of disappointed, you're like, oh, it's that simple? I thought this was going to be, like, a wormhole. I thought I was going to get stuck on this.
But now,
yeah, now you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. How do you detonate C4?
I assume that you press the same button again.
That would be correct.
All right. I am a genius. Do you like C4? Is that doing it for you?
I don't know. This is the first time.
C4 used to be a big deal back in the day.
I liked to plan it, and then you like waited till people walked by, and like it came in handy. It was pretty cool. I like to just throw it randomly and like hope for the best.
Okay.
And just hit it whenever.
I miss Warzone when you could stick C4 onto people's vehicles, and then when they try to drive away, detonate it.
Like that. I just randomly threw to it while I was running, and I just got a kill.
I gotta get used to this weapon. It'll get better when I have more attachments for it, but for right now, I'm still getting a feel for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's way better than shooting a marksman rifle, though. I'm happy with it. I think battle rifles might be my secret thing.
Well, that's like I just switched back to LMGs to try them out.
I can't abide the reload time on LMGs. I'm sorry. It's unacceptable.
You're right, but also I forget, like, you have 100 rounds to go through first, so most of the time I die before I even, like, get there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's where you just have a good backup weapon, then.
What are we doing here, guys?
Nothing good.
Well, someone's probably coming around from behind, so I should...
Oh, man.
Ooh, I'm starting to think that cruise missile was aimed at me.
I was very scared for a second. The circle got very blue very fast.
Okay, Nate tells me that trophy systems can shoot down cruise missiles.
Really? I mean, It does say 4 pieces of close equipment. Like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, apparently it waits till it gets, like, really close to the ground, and then it just detonates it.
That's interesting to me.
Oh, that should have been a kill. I'm really mad about that.
Oof.
I'm charging up a slur. I'm gonna say slurs. I don't understand, like, the kids that, like, scream at their television screens and throw controllers and stuff. it's just a game. I feel like they've never, like, endured any adversity whatsoever, so, like, the slightest little disruption, and they're like, oh, I can't handle it.
Oh, you nincompoop. Oh, gosh, I said a bad thing.
Whoa, I'm gonna get banned for hate speech.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Okay. So... so, you know, we had, like, some people visiting today at work.
Yes, yes.
So we had to behave ourselves, but we didn't know they were visiting because no one told us. And there's even more important people visiting tomorrow, I'm told.
Really? I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that off screen. But the thing is, we didn't know that there was tours coming through, so... And I even had my boss in on this. We were creating a list of terms that are now considered hate speech in the cubicle on the whiteboard. And some of them were like, item number 1, there's been a price increase. This is the first I've heard of it. That's hate speech. You should be canceled on Twitter for that shit. There's others like, hello, I'd like to warranty a set of injectors. That's absolutely hate speech. Oh, what else was there? There was a couple of really good ones. I took a picture of the list. I'll have to look it up. I'll tell you about it later. But we were congratulating ourselves because we kept adding to the list. We had like 10 items on there, and we were feeling pretty proud of ourselves. And then all of a sudden, like, someone walks by our cubicle, and my boss looks right at the title that we wrote in, like, you know, 6-inch high letters, like, you know, customer service hate speech. And she was like, guys, this might not be okay. She's like, don't get me wrong, I'm having a good time, but this might not be okay.
Maybe just censor out the title. Just put a black square on it. Redact it.
That's the coward's way out, okay? A joke is not funny if you censor the sensitive parts.
No, what you do is you set up the title as a hangman game, and people have to walk by and get a letter.
I've been angry enough to do hangman games, and they were like way too specific for anyone to ever guess. Let's check the time. What time is it?
It is 7:37.
I think we've got one more match in us, buddy, and then I gotta call it a night because I think the kids are bedding down for the night. I don't want to keep them up.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, that works. Let's check my weapon progress. Uh-oh, I might be getting kicked. No, I'm not. Good. Can he do it fast enough? Nope. Oh, I can.
I just got there, I think.
Ooh,
I almost lost.
I've got to get 50 kills while ADS. That should be easy.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's the one I was working on. But then I switched to the LMG. I got tired of the other one.
I get you. I get you.
Ooh, I just clicked the wrong one, actually. This one. There we go. This
is not my strongest map.
But that gun camo cool, though.
Have you seen it? Did you see it?
Yeah, you're next to me. It's got all, like, the stripy stripes going on.
Mm-hmm. It's
like a messed up candy cane.
I was just gonna say it's my Jolly Rancher.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There was a, well, you know my name. There was a weapon in Modern Warfare and Warzone called the PKM.
Okay.
And I did really good with that thing for a long time. We used to call it the Paul Kenny Murder Machine.
Huh. The Paul Kenny Murder Machine. I like it. Da, da, da. The way you said something about your name, the song Say My Name, if no one is around you.
Mm-hmm. Say Baby I Love You.
Yeah.
If you ain't running games.
It just popped in my head.
I haven't heard Destiny's Child in forever, man.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, they were this shit. That was before Beyonce was like, you know, her own thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I liked a lot of those solo pop artists before they, like, went solo. So, like, Gwen Stefani was in No Doubt. I loved No Doubt. They were awesome. Don't like Gwen Stefani. She's not my favorite.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think she's the one that is married to like Blake Shelton, the country singer, and every time I remember that, I'm like, really?
Well, and here's the thing. I don't know anything about any musician's personal life. I know nothing. I know the basics, like Kurt Cobain shot himself. Woohoo! Everyone knows that.
Right.
But that's it. I like or dislike people based entirely on whether or not I like their music. And it blows my mind when I'll be like, oh yeah, I like such and such a band, and someone will be like, you know what their political affiliations are. I'm like, I really don't. I don't see how that matters at all.
They're artists and musicians. Why should I care?
Oh yeah,
like...
no, I actively do not seek out information about bands I like because I don't want to know. Once I learn something bad about them, I'm afraid I'll stop liking their music. So like, why do I care?
Yeah, even though in the same breath with that logic, it shouldn't matter.
Oh
it's
yeah,
still bothersome.
Yeah.
Like if I found out like. Let me see if I can randomly. My mind just went blank on any band that exists. Let's say Blink. I find out they like to kick puppies in their free time. I'm gonna be like, I hate these guys. They kick puppies in their free time. But like,
at the same time, like I don't care. I don't have enough memory slots to like care.
Exactly, because they don't matter. They don't. They're
Well,
gonna fade out, eventually.
The other thing is like some people will be like, well, if you listen to X song, you're supporting X agenda. No, I am not. They're gonna do that whether I support them or not.
And that's as bad as it is. Like when some people are like, I'm not gonna shop at Giant because they support this. I'm like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care that you're not shopping there. You won't bring any amount of business to them that they can't recoup elsewhere.
And also, like, the completely unspoken other side of the coin is that you are, though. You are going to shop there again. Yeah. Like, your conviction is going to last 2 weeks.
Yeah, something will come up. That you're like, oh, you know who has this? Giant, and it's convenient for me to go there.
And then the only thing that will be accomplished is you're going to tell your friends, well, I don't normally shop here because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Or they're going to find you out for being a fraud, and then they're going to be like, I thought you said you didn't shop here, and then they're not going to look at you the same anyway.
If you stopped supporting every single group on the planet because of some horrible thing they did or some horrible thing they said or thought, you would have no choices.
Yeah.
You would not be able to go anywhere.
And it's like, I don't know, they're like, well, it matters in numbers. And I'm like, well, you didn't convince me not to do it, so like...
Yeah, if anything, I'm going to go twice as hard now.
My hard point's compromised. Ka-chow!
Mm-hmm. Ka-chow.
Ka-chow!
Okay, so I've seen that meme. That's Lightning McQueen from Cars, right?
Yeah.
He says ka-chow.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that meme used so many times in so many situations that I'm not even entirely certain that appears in the movie. Like, does he actually say that?
Like Morbin time.
Yeah,
yes.
like...
He says ka-chow in the movies.
I didn't know, and so I'm constantly worried that it's like some, like... Well, I hate to say it, like a pedophile joke or something that I'm not understanding, so, like, I shy away from saying it because what if it's got other context I don't know about?
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you mean. That's an understandable fear, I guess, but...
Like, I don't know. There's a few terms where I find out later that they're innocent, but they've been used non-innocently.
I understand, yes.
And that's, like, my only exposure to them. Someone has my back. Uh-oh, I'm gonna die.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Where are all the bad guys?
They're actually pretty organized, and I don't like it.
Tell them to stop. Who keeps getting eyes on me? Oh my god, my screen's flashing orange.
Oh, you know, I have that perk on. That's what that is?
Yes! So it flashes orange in the direction of the person who sees you, but you don't see them.
I was wondering what the heck was going on.
Yeah, theoretically, if you're facing a person and they're looking at you, it should not go off.
I was like, because I was just playing around with the perks, because that's one thing I didn't really touch yet. And I was like, oh, I'll try this different one. And I did notice, and I had no clue. I thought it was some kind of weapon or something.
Oh, like you were getting hit with like a suppression mine or something?
Yeah. No idea.
No, I get you. Yes, that was the perk I was telling you about, and it's useful. Like, I can't tell you how many times my screen has flashed orange and I've just snapped around and killed somebody. But, it's also bad when, like, the whole thing's going off like a freaking strobe light.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much information is just as bad as no information.
How are they not dead?
Oh, you know.
That was disappointing. I hit him like 3 times with the shotgun and they weren't dead.
I wouldn't.
That's you.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. See, I told you not to.
I didn't know what you meant. You weren't clear. Instructions unclear, dick stuck in toaster. Gosh darn it.
Fair.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Oh, there's a UAV?
Location updated.
Where are you at, buddy? Oh, I'm dead. Yep.
Friendly UAV on station. Enemies inside the perimeter.
There should be a mod for this that's like guttural screams when you die. Just like
Oh, okay, so I told you I love Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The death noises, because I'm not used to playing video games with sound.
Right.
The death noises are so much more horrific in that game than any of its predecessors. So, like, I would die, and my character would have this horrible, blood-curdling scream, and I'm like, ow! No, stop, that hurts me. Like, the other games, your character would die, and they'd be like, ugh!
Yeah,
like
typical, like, yeah.
The voice actors in that game were like, they were getting paid good, I guess.
Target area updated. Move to the hard point.
Switching max.
Reload for 1 bullet. Yeah, killed by. All right.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
I gotta tell you, I am losing steam though. It is soon time for bed.
Yes. Sorry, I'm concentrating in this map. This one makes me concentrate.
Yeah, you always get that lull where your brain's like, I must be good at this.
Secure the area.
Dun, 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 dun. I think it's because I switched weapons too. So like the other one I was a little more comfortable with, and this one's like I'm giving my focus to.
Mm-hmm.
Hard point relocating. Stand by.
Or then, like, sometimes you hit an incredible streak of luck and you start doing good and you're like, I can't waste this.
Yeah, like okay, maybe I should actually try.
Hard point relocated. Secure the target.
Well, and I do feel bad for my teammates. They paid their $70 to play this game. You know, they should
Right.
they should have dependable teammates too. Whoa, I saw that guy. He's got a gold gun.
I saw that.
That's not fair. He probably plays way more than I do.
Yeah. Or he bought it. I don't know if that's a thing.
I don't know either. I don't know if you can buy it. Man, that would be a slap in the face. Then there's no point. There's no point in the grind.
Gotta get into the grind, man.
I love the
Start
grind,
scratching.
man. This
Start
is my
scratching.
favorite. This is my favorite part of Call of Duty.
I honestly, I'm pleasantly pleased because like I haven't played Call of Duty for a while, and this is I'm enjoying this.
If you'll excuse me, I'm kind of going on a rampage. I got an SAE.
That's fine. I keep forgetting that I'm using a shotgun, and oh man, I picked up his gold gun. It looks awesome.
You're cleared hot.
Copy that.
1-1 requesting recon at this time.
Copy.
Dude, I can't wait to get gold camo for this gun.
Oh, he's got the thing sicked out, man. Like, that's a fast rate of fire. What is this?
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Changing mags.
Personnel
Dun,
at the
dun,
hardpoint.
dun. I got a gold gun. The man with the gold gun.
Be advised,
Ugh.
UAV is exiting the AO.
Here, let's hit him with a cruise missile. Take one of these. See if you like it. Huh. Well,
Oh, I don't have the golden gun anymore.
Our
that,
UAV
that
is
did not
orbiting
work
the
very
area.
well. I'm sad.
Mission updated. Capture the hardpoint.
It'll be okay.
Friendly UAV on station.
Oh, I got his gun again.
The lead.
Look at this thing. This thing looks awesome.
Dude, it's sick. I can't wait. That's an M4, isn't it?
I think so.
Friendly counter UAV is online.
Reloading.
We've got him on the run.
I've got your back, dude. You keep going and I'll keep following.
Enemy personnel at the hardpoint.
I like it too. It's got a nice rate of fire and everything else going on.
It's probably stable as hell, too.
Overwatch
Yeah.
in the area. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Ooh.
Friendly positioning. Now, confirming next operating UAV online.
Ooh, buddy.
Da-da.
There's a guy over here.
Secure the area. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area.
I'm reloading.
Mm.
I don't know where he went.
Overhead.
Dude, I'm telling you, sometimes they like just disappear. Crazy.
Did you just mark that?
No,
Ready to deploy.
Then who did?
I don't know.
At the hardpoint.
I just got a double kill though.
Oh,
Nice.
man. I hope I get play of the game. Let's see. I like going out on a high note.
Da, 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 da. Come on. That's what you did that yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here it is.
Nice.
There's the guy with the golden gun in the background.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
I was
that
I was
just
ready
makes
to
you feel
shoot that
good.
other guy coming around. 29 and 18. That's not bad.
Even though we were last on our team, we still did pretty good.
Yeah. I'm satisfied with my performance. I think we can
I'm
call it a
happy.
night. Let's see what
I'm
my camo progress is.
Heck yeah.
All right. Weapons.
Ooh, sentry gun.
All right.
I
I am close. I'm at 28 of 50 for ADS kills, and then I just have 2 more camos to get for this guy. But I think I'm gonna call it, man.
a hybrid sight for the LMG. Nice.